Here's another update on the catastrophic flooding happening in Texas. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time, and we have been told that another little girl's body has been found. She was 8 years old, and she also was attending the all-girls Christian camp that was flooded in the area. This is 8-year-old Renee, and her uncle has confirmed that she's been found deceased. Her aunt and uncle, Sean and Michelle, posted this not long ago. Thank you to our friends and family for all the prayers and outreach. Renee has been found, and while not the outcome we prayed for, the social media outreach likely assisted the first responders in helping to identify her so quickly. We are thankful she was with her friends and having the time of her life, as evidenced by this picture from yesterday. She will forever be living her best life at Camp Mystic. Please continue to pray for the other families in Kerrville. We are now trying to make our way home from Italy to be with Michelle's family. It's now being said that the Guadalupe River reached the second highest height it has ever been, and this is the river that Camp Mystic was situated near. The county sheriff said this may be a once-in-a-lifetime flood, and he added that it was an extremely active scene countrywide. This flooding was extremely unexpected. They did not know the precipitation level was going to be what it was. And unfortunately, the flooding happened, and then the overnight evacuation took place at Camp Mystic. Directors of Kirk County Camp reportedly asked for help at that time. The cabins were already flooded, and many of them may have washed away. Pictures are now starting to come out of the destruction that the camp experienced because of this flooding. They said that the river rose 20 feet in a matter of 2 hours throughout the night. Now, this is what the inside of one of the camps looked like after the flooding went through it. As you can see from the picture, most of the mattresses are completely off the bed and on the floor, and some of them were even found outside the cabins. The water basically came in and scooped out the whole inside of buildings. The wall is completely gone. All the contents is empty. A lot was found on the ground, but most of it was washed away. A mother of 2 daughters that was camping at Camp Mystic has come forward to say that staffers should have been more on top of this. She described what exactly her 2 daughters experienced. Serena Aldrich spoke to media saying she had her 2 daughters at this camp. One was age 9 and one was age 12, and they were rescued amid flooding at the camp. She was able to reunite with her daughters last night, and she said that the Camp Mystic employees and staff should have been watching the Texas Division of Emergency Management and Kirk County. She said they were posting stuff yesterday morning, and they should have been on top of this. She said that her daughters were in 2 separate areas of the camp at the time of the flooding. She said that her youngest daughter was in an area called the Flats, and her oldest was on Senior Hill. She said the 2 of them were both evacuated and they had to be taken up to higher ground. She said they stayed there for a number of hours, and then they made their way back down to a cabin that the flood water had already receded from. She said once she was informed that her daughters were safe, she ended up going to the elementary school that was the reunification center for all of the missing families, and she found both of her daughters there. She said they seemed happy when she found them, but she said she has no idea how this trauma is going to affect them, especially where there are still young girls that were campers at this camp missing. As of right now, we know 20 of the little girls are still unaccounted for, with 3 of them being found deceased. We know that 27 people have died so far, and 9 of them were children. One father was interviewed. He's been looking for his daughter, Joyce Catherine. He said that she's 21 years old, and she was actually at a home with a few friends when she went missing during the flooding. He said his daughter and 3 friends were staying in the home for the 4th of July weekend. It was right by the river, and apparently she was speaking to one of the other friends' parents at 4 a.m. when he believes she was washed away.
Yesterday morning that we were told that, they were on the phone with Aiden's dad, who they own the house where they were. It was a very nice house, no longer there. And Aiden said, hey, I've got to go. I got to help Ella and Reese. So he gave the phone to Joyce Catherine. Joyce Catherine said, they just got washed away. And then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know. So we presume that she got washed away as well. And if you go back to where the house is, it's not a good sign. And that's why I was telling you, my son and I were walking, and I thought it was a mannequin. It was a little boy, about 8 or 10 years old, and he was dead. So we just...
You saw that this morning?
Yes. So we're just walking and doing the same thing we were doing. Look, when we stumbled across him. But hopefully we can find our children our daughter and her friends alive. So anyway, I ask you if you would pray, and whoever watches this thing, pray.
2 other families are now confirming that their 2 daughters have been found deceased after the flooding. The families of Sarah Marsh and Lila Bonner, 2 campers who went missing from Camp Mystic, are now confirming their deaths as well. 9-year-old Lila's family gave the following statement. In the midst of our unimaginable grief, we ask for privacy and are unable to confirm any details at this time. We ache with all who loved her and are praying endlessly for others to be spared from this tragic loss. Alabama Senator Katie Britt shared the news about Sarah's passing, saying that she's heartbroken over the loss of Sarah Marsh and we are keeping her family in our thoughts and prayers during this unimaginable time. There are a number of different camps along this river, and one 14-year-old boy was interviewed. He was staying at a camp called Camp La Junta in Hunt, Texas, when torrential rains and catastrophic flooding swept the area. He actually told CNN that there was just a little bit of water at the camp before it became more and more. He said in the morning he woke up to people from other parts of the camp coming in to seek refuge in their cabin because there wasn't as much water. He went on to say, we didn't really know what was going on around us because it was dark. We couldn't see past the trees, and all we knew is that we needed to move stuff in order for it not to get wet. He said that he and his fellow campers were stuck and they couldn't really go anywhere because around them were streams. He was quoted as saying, really strong streams converging, and we didn't want to get swept away because of all the runoff from the mountain. At one point, they tried to get up into the loft of the cabin, but again, he said it was leaking up there, so we couldn't stay. And at some point, we just decided we could go to bed for a little bit, but then we woke up again to more water. His parents confirmed that the next morning they were notified about what happened and said that all the campers were accounted for. They went and got the children, and they said that the boys were extremely traumatized about the events of the night. There are currently a ton of departments on site working this situation, including a number of volunteers, and some have been interviewed. Nick Sorter, who's a member of the United Cajun Navy, which is a volunteer rescue group in Louisiana, he shared an update as well. He said the people have lost everything. If your house was even close to the riverbank, it's gone, swept off its foundation. He said, at this point, we don't know how many people were even home when this happened. If you were home, you probably got swept down the river. He was also asked about Camp Mystic, which is the camp that the girls were staying at, and he said there was nowhere for these kids to go. The buildings were completely washed out, carved out from the inside. And I think this is a perfect example. This picture shows what he's talking about, was saying that they're carved out from the inside. The wall is completely gone and everything was just removed. He added that the rescue operation is extremely tricky, and he said it's mainly the debris field, the downed trees blocking the path of riverboats, and he said low-hanging clouds are also preventing helicopters from reaching the area, slowing down efforts. He said communication was another huge hindrance. He said cell phones were down, radios weren't working, but he did say some were able to regain contact using Starlink. And he said in one miraculous rescue, a young girl was found alive after being swept 12 miles downstream and surviving by clinging to a tree. He said that is nothing short of a miracle. It's remarkable that she was able to survive, that she beat the odds. He said time is of the essence right now, and as each hour passes, the outlook grows bleaker. He said time is precious, especially when we're talking about the amount of missing children. These young girls, you see these pictures, and it's horrifying to even think about. I will continue to post the updates as they come in, so make sure you hit follow.